everybody. This is us again. We're coming back and we're going to be making some actual corn tortillas. In this recipe, all you're going to need is corn flour. I used Bob's Red Mills as they plant with non-GMO corn from what they've told me on their website. All you're going to need is just some water and some corn flour. And then I actually have an actual corn and flour tortilla cooker. Please don't mind the actual jingly thing. That's my actual medical alert bracelet. And it might just get in the way, but I have to keep it on me all the time. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to portion out some actual corn flour into the bowl. And I'm just going to make a little bit of this because we're going to be making some vegan sour cream or enchiladas.
Enchiladas.
Yeah, enchiladas. Okay. So we're just going to kind of, if you can see, it's becoming kind of a little goopy. You're just going to get to the right texture. You don't want to add too much water because then it makes a nastiness and it won't make it. You're wanting it to kind of to where it'll still be a little crumbly but not too much, but to where it's going to come together. And corn tortillas are very easy to make. Especially fresh at the house, and with all the GMO nastiness going on, homemade is so much better for you and cheaper, and you can make your own chips at the house and just get yourself some good masa. If you can see how I'm adding a little bit at a time, nothing too much. Okay, here we go. If you can see. Okay, this is basically the consistency you're going to want it. It's a very kind of wet. If you can see how it's pulling away onto my hands, a little bit of the dough like this. And it's going to be very wet so that when on the pan, on mine at least, it can actually spread out nicely. And if you can see, it's actually coming out a little on this end. But I'm going to flip it around after it cooks a little and then push it on the other side. As you'll see, it will flatten itself better. Let's see here. It's not pulling away really well right now, so it's still kind of cooking on the outside edges. But this is basically how, if you're making or using a tortilla cooker, how it will, if you can see how it's a little bit thicker on this side and a little bit thinner on that side. And if you just flip it and then press it a little on that side. Not too much to where it cracks it. But to where it'll cook it. And that's it. A homemade corn tortilla. And I'm just going to place it in here with the other ones. And that's it. Okay, today I'm going to be making sour cream or vegan sour cream chicken or Chyicken enchiladas is what we like to call them. You know, vegan Chyicken enchiladas. And basically, if you look at it, this is one of the companies that actually does not put preservatives or even vinegar in their salsa, but the green one. And so I like to use that for my salsa verde. It's fast and it's a lot quicker than me making it homemade, which takes a lot longer time. When I'm making these enchiladas, we're going to be using the canola oil. We're having some pinto beans on the side, and we'll see if I'm going to be making my rice on the side. If not, we'll decide to in a little while. We're going to be using cumin and fennel seed in this. We're also going to be using a little bit of oregano, garlic. We're going to be using that non-chicken vegan bouillon, the iodinized sea salt. We're going to be using the TVP, again, the texturized vegetable protein. And then in there is those fresh homemade corn tortillas that we just made. 2 bell peppers. You can not use the red if you don't want to. I just like the color. It came from the garden anyway, so we had a red one, so we're going to use that. An onion. And then this is a company called Tufuti Sour Cream. The company, I have talked to them, and they intentionally do not use GMO. It's basically 75 to 25% chance that you're not going to be getting GMO. They're going to try in the future to start bringing out a specific non-GMO sour cream, but this is the only sour cream we can get. And I say, if they're at least trying to stop the GMO coming to them, at least I'm going to say, God will bless. So this is basically what I'm going to be doing. If you notice, I'm not making much of paprika or anything like this because these are a light enchilada. I will be using, though, that really spicy chili powder. So when I start getting everything better together, I'm going to be reconstituting the TVP, and I will show you how I'm going to be doing that in just a little while. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've put approximately maybe 2 teaspoons of fennel seeds and a teaspoon of cumin. You can use a coffee grinder for this, but I actually have I use a molcajete for this, to crack it and grind it. I don't want it to be a fine powder. I just want to kind of crack it a little to give it a little bit of texture into the fennel will give me more of like a spicy kind of, taste to it. It's what a lot of people put in like sausage or anything like that to give it a little kick. And of course, the cumin is basically the thing that you use mostly in a lot of Mexican meals. So I'm not only going to just be using this, but I'm also going to be using powdered or basically ground cumin as well with this. So, or comino. As long as it could be, it's basically, I will let you see it later when I'm putting in the spice into it, what it's supposed to look like a little bit, so that when you're grinding it in the coffee grinder or something, or if you have a molcajete, what it needs to look like in order to put it in there. So, bye-bye. Okay, I'm actually going to be using 2 bouillons in this recipe with a whole cup of TVP, or texturized vegetable protein. As you can see right there. Yummy! And so I'm going to reconstitute that. It takes approximately 10 minutes to reconstitute it. And then I'll be adding those spices to it. Okay, now that this is reconstituted, if you can see, it still has a little bit of liquid in here, enough for me to kind of simmer the actual spices and garlic with there. I also have some actual onion, approximately, maybe half of a medium onion, basically minced in the food processor. And then I have some garlic that I'm going to be doing. If you can see, this is basically just for the top to give it a little bit of color and to look pretty on top of the enchiladas. So I'm going to be adding those spices. If you can see how it looks in regards to the spices that I've got. I've kind of crushed it, but it's still got a lot of big pieces and yet little fine pieces too. Just so that it gives it a good flavor, good texture to the meat and stuff. And we're going to be adding this and the garlic and the actual minced onion into the actual TVP reconstitute and letting that simmer for about another 5 to 10 minutes to get the flavors mixed in there. And then that's really it for the meat. If you wanted to, what I'm going to be adding in order to give it a little yeasty type flavor or kind of cheesy into my meat is I'm going to be adding what is called nutritional yeast. It's an actual, it's basically what vegetarians would use to make vegan cheese or put on popcorn or something like that is what they do. And so this is I'm going to be adding to it with also my vegan cheese that I forgot to show up here with all my other stuff. So sorry about that. So I'll be back once all that's done. Okay, I am now finished with the actual TVP or texturized vegetable protein, which is basically our chicken filler. I have put in here approximately 1 tablespoon of whole comino seed that I ground just barely though, and an actual about a tablespoon of fennel seed too in here. I have added 3 garlic cloves, a quarter or half of basically a small onion. I have as well added 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. That is optional, but I just like it. It makes it a more chickeny. It just gives it that more of a kick for the chicken flavor in it. It's been cooking here for a little while. If you see, I've got the oil starting to warm up to actually make the tortillas more workable with, because just like any corn tortilla, they're not going to be that palatable to work with right now. To kind of roll up, they'll kind of a little bit crack on me still, maybe not. I just like working with it, giving it a slight dip in an oil beforehand. You don't have to, if you're making them homemade and you basically soak, like basically they're fresh and they're steamed and everything. But I just like to, especially if you are using store-bought tortillas that are non-GMO, you're going to need to really do that. Ooh, that thing surprised me popping at me. So once I get those ready and I start to stuff everything, I will come back. All right, bye everybody. Okay, now that I have basically done the fake meat and I've dipped the tortillas in a little bit of oil, not much, and just warmed them up, made them a little more pliable to where I can bend them a little bit better. I'm going to take some of this salsa and I'm going to add and coat the bottom of this so that nothing sticks when it cooks. And then I'm going to roll the meat into the tortillas. And I have some fake cheese, but I'm going to be adding that to mine. You don't have to technically add it, but I am because I like it. So I will actually come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, as you can see, this is the cheese I like to use. It's called Daya. I'm using mozzarella shred, and I'm also using the little bit left of cheddar shred that I had at the house. And if you can see, I've actually got the actual verde sauce all on the bottom. And this is how it's going to be. And I'm going to be putting not a lot. If you can see, you really don't have to put much in there at all.
Dad, the green one is hot.
So that's all it's going to be. Okay, now I'm back and I have stuffed all of those corn tortillas with the actual TVP and a little bit of the mixed cheese. But I left some of the mozzarella shred left. And I still have some of this wonderful fake meat left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pouring some more of the verde sauce all on the top. And I'm going to be putting on the actual onions and the bell peppers and the cheese and a little bit of the actual meat on top. And you will see, and then we're going to pop one of these in the oven. And I'm going to show you a cool way in order to put something in the oven without using foil. And it will still cook like if it had foil on top of it. So we'll get back, and as soon as I get them all ready, I will show you how to do this. Bye! Okay, this is how it looks once it's done. A little bit more the verde sauce on top with those onions and the bell peppers and the cheese and the meat. And this is the other one that we've got as well. Okay, this is what you do. You're going to get yourself an actual cookie pan. Not an aluminum one, please, though. Will defeat the purpose. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it just like that in the oven. And it's going to act the same thing as what foil does. But it's a stainless steel pan that's going on top. And that way, you don't get any of that nasty aluminum going back into the food, which is really bad for you. So this is actually how I cook my food without aluminum if I am actually going to be putting it in an oven and it needs a top. That is how I will cook my food. I actually will have a smaller one that I will be putting on that and putting it next to each other in the oven. It's a tight fit, but if you do it right, you could get it going. And it does not take long to cook it all. So I don't think we're going to be we'll probably use the beans tonight. So get back with you once this is done. Bye. Okay, this is the actual enchiladas. And if you can tell, the littlest one is already ready for the food. So here we go. Okay, now this is the sour cream or vegan sour cream Chyicken Enchiladas. And I hope everybody enjoys it, and God bless.